After the end of the Second World War, with Germany and her allies defeated, details started to emerge about the reality of the concentration camps. The emergence of those details, in addition to the mass civilian deaths that were caused, for instance, by the British bombing of Dresden, led to calls for a codification of certain laws of combat. Laws of combat that would restrain the worst excesses of the bureaucratically and technologically enhanced violence. Within the context of this current assault on Gaza, this history behind why the Geneva Conventions came into being in the first place is very important to keep in mind. Despite this history, which involves both the UK and Germany, both countries have chosen to provide diplomatic cover for the Israelis. First, in the UK, having mentioned what we have mentioned regarding the British bombing of Dresden, it becomes shocking then to see Grant Shapps, the Secretary, State of Defense, come out and say the following.
I think it's kind of, we've sort of forgotten that in war, very sadly, people lose their lives. When Britain bombed Dresden, 35,000 people have apparently lost their lives. People die in war. When you have an organization like Hamas hiding and shielding themselves with and under the civilian population, it's a sad fact that some people will lose their lives.
As you just saw, he's essentially defending Israel's actions by making reference to the Allied bombing of Dresden. Despite the veracity of the case presented by the South African lawyers at the ICJ, David Cameron, when asked about it, has said that the idea that Israel are committing a genocide is nonsense.
You know, I'm not a lawyer, but they are talking here about genocide. They're taking this case on the basis of genocide. To say that they have, that country, that leadership, that armed forces, that they have the intent to commit genocide, I think that is nonsense. I think that's wrong.
He invokes Israel being a democracy which follows the rule of the law and the like, as if this makes it impossible for them to be engaged in genocidal actions. Must one simply claim to be liberal in order to have a blind eye given to all of their actions? And of course, plenty of human rights organizations, such as B'Tselem and Amnesty International, before October the 7th, have mentioned how the laws within Israel function and facilitate an apartheid state. Germany's federal government spokesperson came out to call the ICJ case baseless, as Germany announced it would intervene in support of Israel. The First Lady of Namibia would make comments pointing out some historical ironies. On the 12th of January 1904, the build-up to the Herero Nama genocide would begin, in which Germany would be responsible for the slaughter of tens of thousands of Africans living under German colonial rule. And shockingly, it was on the 12th of January 2024 when Germany would make their statements intervening on behalf of the Israelis to facilitate what many consider is yet another genocide taking place in Gaza. Likewise, the presidency of Namibia would release a statement criticizing the Germans for gearing up to facilitate yet another genocide when they had not even properly atoned for the first one. Germany, it seems, has proven to always fight itself on the wrong side of history. For the third time in about 120 years, it finds itself on the perpetrating side of yet another genocide. The incident raises further questions though. Whilst Westerners often interrogate Eastern violence, and there are many decades of propaganda to this event, perhaps the Occidentalists of the world should begin to ask why it is that the West seems to always find itself involved in mass colonial type massacres. Is this what David Cameron means when he says that Israel are liberal?
If you like our work and you're a fan of everything that we are doing with regards to the news reporting, then do click the subscribe button down below and share our channel with your friends and your family.